Hey guys, it's Kelsey. I'm back with another scrapbooking process video and with another 6x6 paper pad that has been in my stash for years. This one is from My Mind's Eye. It's called Market Street. At first I thought that one of you guys had sent this one to me, but I remember now that I got it when I got My Mind's Eye like box of factory goodies that came with a ton of different collections, and this was one of the things they included was this little 6x6 paper pad. But because I didn't have any 12x12s for this collection, I kind of haven't used it really yet, so I decided to really dig into it. I think I've done like one page with this little paper pad, but since this month we are doing some stash busting, I wanted to get another layout done using a good bit of the paper in here. So I'm pulling out a lot of the more simple patterns. I didn't really want to pull in any of the florals, but there's a lot of polka dots, there's some plaids, some solids, ombres that I thought would be really nice. So that's kind of what I'm working with. And this 12x12, Jennifer sent this to me with a whole bunch of 12x12s from her stash, and I've kind of been hoarding them. It's kind of a collective, eclectic, that's the word I'm going for, mix of different papers that I've kind of been waiting to have special pages to use this on. And this one is a 12x12 of burlap, and I thought it was like the coolest thing ever. So I've been hoarding this page in particular, but I'm like, you know what, this burlap would go really cool with this collection. I think it'd end up with a really cool textured end result. I was kind of saving it for a horse layout, but in the end, I'm like, you know what, this is really cute. And it's kind of horse themed because Billy's laying on a saddle pad. So I'm like, you know what, it works. But I think the brown and the texture just go so cool with these other colors. And I think it's kind of unexpected, but creates this fun final project. So I'm starting out by creating a horizontal bit that kind of runs across the page. I was inspired by a Chamel page for this, but I for the life of me could not find my original inspiration, but I know it was Chamel, and she kind of had this design where she had her photo in the upper right hand quadrant and then had basically an L layout design, but it was kind of backwards and inverted. So I'll have this horizontal strip running across the top of the page and then a vertical strip running along the right side of the page, and then just building layers from there. So I really tried to find her original inspiration to have in this this video, but it's a popular design for Chamel, so I'm sure if you look up her pages, you'll probably be able to find it, hopefully. But I really liked this polka dot running across the side of the page. I know there's a seam here where I had to connect these two pieces that don't line up, but I'm just thinking in my mind I'll probably just find some way to cover that by the time I'm done with this page. I cover most of it with the photo, but by the time I finish this page, there's still nothing covering up the top portion, and I just kind of leave it. It doesn't really bother me, but I know that might bother some other people, so if it does, just make sure you have an embellishment cluster over that seam where the polka dots don't line up. But this is pretty much just a game of layering and trying to make these 6x6 papers appear bigger than they are to be what you need them to be, and that's pretty much always the game when you play with these smaller paper pads, if you're not using them for like cards or something. But I have this nice base of my L design here. I have a couple layers behind my photo, and then I really liked the way this ombre aqua looked running down the right side of my page. So from here, I'm just going to be tucking in layers. I love this little blue on blue arrow print, so I'm tucking that on either side, and I turned around one side of the arrow so they're both facing towards the photo instead of them running off the edge of the page. And now I'm going to start gluing some things down. I'm inking everything in brown. I thought that would be appropriate since I have this burlap background. But this is just documenting Billy being silly. I was home for school from winter break from UGA, and I was just organizing and going through some stuff in my room, and I had laid out this saddle pad so I could get to some things that were behind it, and Billy immediately thought it was a bed just for him, and he claimed it. So I saw him laying on my saddle pad, and he would like knock it off of it. So I'm like, well, I guess you can use it as your bed for now. But I just thought it was so cute, so I wanted to get a picture and document it. But I'm pretty happy the way that these layers are looking, so I'm going to go ahead and start gluing them down. I was kind of worried how this glue would work on this burlap, but it worked fine. My normal, just double-sided adhesive worked fine. I thought I might have to use some liquid glue for these layers, but I didn't, so that was nice. But I'm pretty much just sticking these things down where they already were. I like how that's looking. I think I'm going to add a couple more layers behind this photo by the time I'm done. But for these more horizontal and vertical bits, I know that's where they're going to end up. So I'm just going to stick those down. You can see the scraps to the left here. I just pulled out everything in the color scheme. There's a bunch of like florals in that collection I just left in the book. But that's typically what I like to do when I'm working with a collection. I'll just set out everything that's in the color scheme that I think I might use and set it next to me. And everything I just know I won't, I just remove. That way it's less distraction. But here's another aqua stripe that I thought was nice because it pulled in the aqua of this ombre background. So I tucked that in for a couple layers. And then I was thinking about using this pink plaid elsewhere too. It is one of the papers I matted around the photo, but I decided not to. But I do love this little multicolor arrows. I already have the arrow motif in this blue on blue tone, but I really loved this multicolor arrow too because it pulls in all the colors I'm already using and kind of makes it cohesive. So I'm just adding that to my little vertical stack here. Top and bottom of the polka dot and the arrow, you'll see what I mean when I kind of stack them. But I'm trying to make that look like it's a longer vertical piece here to accentuate the aqua, because I have a lot of, not a lot, but like I have a couple things kind of going horizontally and not very much going vertically. So I'm just trying to add to that so it looks more balanced. And then again, I have this pink ombre strip that I thought was really cool since I have the aqua ombre, and I'm going to do the same thing with that and just add that to my vertical layering so it kind of looks like it's more balanced and that I have the same amount of layers going vertically as I do horizontally. And I'll kind of leave it at that. I think for my paper layers, I think that looks really cool. I kind of got stuck a little bit when I was trying to embellish because I have nothing from this collection. So I kind of had to go digging through my stuff to find what I wanted to use, and I came up with like a mix max jumble of embellishments. There's a couple Brad packs from Simple Stories I pulled out. I pulled out some like plastic, I don't even know what you call them. They came in a card making collection I got at a garage sale. I don't even know what brand it was or anything. But you'll see that kind of come out too. But I actually did find these kind of Scrabble inspired pink tile letters, and I thought that would be a perfect title to use since I knew it was going to be going over multiple papers. I wanted it to be super legible. And this pink is already in this collection through that plaid that I have around the photo. So I'm just going to label it Saddle Pad, and then I'll do a little bit of journaling just explaining it. But I think that was a nice size of a title, and I love the way the pink looks. I think it matches that pink ombre that's on the page like perfect. But I'm going to go ahead and ink the alphabet too, just so everything looks cohesive and looks like it belongs together. So I'm almost done with that, and then I'm going to have to figure out embellishment at some point. But yeah, I got stuck a little bit here. So I'm trying to figure out what I do next, if I do my journaling or if I try to embellish. But here's a whole bunch of stuff you can see from my stash that I'm trying to figure out what I could use. These Christmassy brads here, actually, some of the blue ones go really well, so I thought about using them. I also have these DIY shop burlap bows, so I was like, oh, I could use these burlap bows in my embellishment and kind of reference the burlap of the background, but I don't end up using them. I kind of think the burlap stands up on its own as a background, so I really didn't feel like I actually needed those once I decided to go with these gold embellishments. But these little plasticky gold die cuts, I don't know, they've been in my stash for ages, and like I said, I have no idea where they came from, but I thought this gold looked really cool with this collection for whatever reason, so I thought I would try and use up a couple of them. There's this one that says You and Me, there's a little banner of bunting, and there's this cute little banner that says Best Day, so I thought maybe I could create a visual triangle with these gold embellishments and get them out of my stash, because they've been in my box of goodies for forever. And I kind of like how that adds some interest and some bling. There's no metallics on this page yet, so I think adding this nice soft flat gold is kind of a cool way to pull it in. But I am going to use Tombow Mono Multi to glue those down, and so I'm just getting those all attached. But I think it's a fun little detail. But yeah, and then I am going to go in with some of those brads as well. So you see the brads from the Domestic Bliss collection. I really like the houses that are in that one, particularly the larger brad that has the blue house, and then the smaller aqua brad that has the white house. So I'm thinking maybe I can use both of those, and then maybe some of the smaller blue brads from the Christmas collection. So it's kind of a mishmash of things from my stash, but that's kind of why I like this page, because it was just so all over the place. And the things that I pulled in from my stash, like, I have had for so long, so it makes me super happy to get them used up. But yeah, there is one brad there. For the little cluster down here, I just folded the brads through the aqua sheet. But because the secondary cluster I want to have are going through multiple pages, I actually did have to poke them all the way through the burlap layer. So you'll see that in a minute too. But these ones were easy because I could just lift up this aqua bit and get them all stuck down. So there's that little cluster there. I think that looks super cute. And I'm thinking my journaling is just going to be underneath the title on this aqua ombre. I think that'll be a really nice backdrop for some journaling. But I definitely wanted a secondary cluster, so they were balanced across the page. So on the upper right hand corner, I'm going to have some brads up where it says the you and me, just to kind of finish off that area too. But you'll see I try and just poke them through one layer like I did before, but because they're all scraps and they're all glued to each other, it was just a mess. So I decided just to stick it through all of the layers. I needed my mouse pad for that. I cannot find my piercing mat, my little cute Amy Tangerine orange one. I literally just had it and I can't find it. So I had to pull out a scrap of like a mouse pad or something to push those brads through. But I think that looks cute. So I have my little 2 clusters of my brads. I have my little visual triangle with the gold. And now I'm just going to doodle some lines in white. I thought about using black, but there's really no black in this page other than the little bit of black in the photo. And I just thought, the white would kind of look fresh. And there's only white in, I think, 1 or maybe 2 of the pattern papers, so I think pulling some white out in the journaling would kind of keep it lighter. But all it says is, while organizing my room, I set out my saddle pad, which Billy immediately claimed as his new bed, and I dated it. That was December 6th of 2011, and that's pretty much it, I think. I don't think I added anything else to this page, but this is a really good stash busting layout for me, so it's very satisfying to create. But you'll see the close-ups here in a minute. I do have to go over the journaling twice because the white wasn't standing out as much as I wanted to on this lighter aqua, so I just went over it twice and it just made it a little bit more bold, so that's all I'm doing now. But I don't think I added anything else. You can see there at the pink and red polka dot, that's the horizontal strip. You can see that little bit there that doesn't line up all the way, so if that bothers you, like I said, you could always add an embellishment there, but I was fine with it. So here are the close-ups. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.